In this episode, we're talking about the most anticipated indie game of the month, the year, of all time. It's Hollow Knight Silksong. This and more on Indie Game Arcade. Welcome to Indie Game Arcade, a podcast that deep dives into the latest and greatest indie games. My name's Chris.
And I'm Joseph.
And just in case, a lot of you probably have never heard about the game that we're going to be talking about today, but it is pretty popular if you're in the right circles. I don't know if anyone had any news about it, but pick up on my joke. Carry my joke somewhere.
I can't because we've done that joke at least twice already.
I know, but I want to beat this dead horse.
We can't beat this dead bug.
Yeah. It's the game that crashed. Yeah. Here's the thing. If you weren't in the know and you were on Steam a few days ago and you couldn't do anything on Steam, this is why. It's because everyone was trying to purchase this game and it crashed Steam.
Blame Silksong. I want to say that this is exciting to me in the same way that Elden Ring was exciting to me because one, it got people really into Souls-like games because that was just part of the zeitgeist at the time. And two, this game is substantially harder than Hollow Knight was. And I love that because now people are going to come into it being like, oh, it's going to be a breeze and it's so cute. And they're going to be like, oh my God, this is so hard. It will test your patience in the best way, I think.
I can't wait to ask you more about that. So let's go ahead and get into this. We'll introduce it for the people that actually don't know much about it.
Game start!
Hollow Knight Silksong, this was released on September 4th, 2025, developed and published by Team Cherry, which crazy once you understand the scope of this game and how big it is. And, same for Hollow Knight. I think Hollow Knight was just a team of 2 and now they're a team of 3, I believe. That's insane to me. Just, that little amount of people making such a huge thing.
Yeah, but it also kind of makes sense that it took so long given that.
Yes. Retails for $19.99, so that is a fantastic price for what you get.
A steal.
Yes. For a quick description, this is a sequel to the hit Metroidvania original Hollow Knight. This one, though, starring Hornet, delivering swift combat mechanics, new tools and crests, and exploration through the vibrant and dangerous kingdom of Farloom. I'm just going to dangle myself out here real quick for someone to at me. I never played Hollow Knight. I never played the original, and I'm sorry.
Obviously, you don't need to play this game. It is a follow-up, but not in a way where, you have to play the first one to understand. There's probably Easter eggs in there that will be like, oh, neat, it's this guy, or I remember this, or something like that. But sure. You're not going to miss out on a ton had you not played the original. Plus, it's not a direct sequel, so I don't... And the gameplay is, a lot different and a lot faster, so I think it might be challenging for people to go back to OG Hollow Knight after playing this because it will feel very slow once you adapt to this.
I can kind of understand that, I think, maybe from the perspective, and you can correct me on this too, in the idea that... So I did play this for a little bit, just a little past the first boss. The idea that you can self-heal in this, I don't know if that was a function in Hollow Knight. I'm not sure if it was. So I can see where if it wasn't, then it would be tough to go back.
I'm pretty sure it was, not in the same way though. This just has this one kind of takes a Bloodborne-ish route where you have to be aggressive to survive because you're getting your silk back, which is what allows you to heal by attacking enemies. And Bloodborne was the same way where you keep attacking and you can regen some of the health that you just lost from an attack. So it's it's definitely wanting you to be as aggressive and really playing into the whole quickness of the game by having that be the way to heal. It's not, you won't get like, oh, I have 10 Estus flasks, so I'm cool, I'm going to survive. It's like, no, you get, at least starting, you get one like loom of silk, and like once you use that, you got to charge it back up, buddy. You can't, you're not going to survive on just the one. You basically like can't just sit back, and I appreciate that about it because it makes me stay engaged.
The range that this game has gotten in the cultural zeitgeist is kind of crazy, to the point where like my wife, who does not play games really, like I said, like she'll play some mobile games and stuff on her phone. I'm trying so hard to change that, but someday. But like, so her, who like the only indie game I think she would even be able to like say the name of is Untitled Goose Game. And that's because she played it on stream with me years ago. So aside from that, she's like completely like out of this world that you and I are in. But like even today, she was just like, hey, one of my clients today was talking to me about this game. Do you know about it? Hollow Knight Silksong? And I'm like, oh, honey, let me tell you. Yeah, let me tell you the history.
Short answer, yes.
Yeah. One thing that I did find out about this too, though, which I think is interesting. So like, especially the whole thing with Hornet being the main character. From what I understand, this was originally, like the plans were originally for this to just be like a smaller DLC for the original Hollow Knight that just like spiraled and built into this, you know, gigantic, massive, you know, sequel of a game.
I guess with how compact like Hollow Knight is as a whole, and how quickly and really just like playing into her character, how like mobile Hornet is, it would have felt like if you beat a game and then you go play it again, but it's like easy mode for you because you've gone through it already, so now you are some superpowered character. That is what that would have felt like if you had been playing as Hornet in the original Silksong.
Sure.
Or sorry, in the original Hollow Knight.
Yeah, yeah. So one thing that like I would like you to do as you, because we're going to have you sort of explain a little bit more about the mechanics and everything of this game, because you are farther along than I would be in this thing, and you'll have a better understanding too. But I would also like you to tell me about some of the more differences between the original game Hollow Knight and then Silksong as well.
I just remember it being slower, and you are obviously less mobile, but I just know that this one feels different and is a lot more reactive than that one, which it felt a lot more defensive than this one. Whereas, like I said, this one is a lot more offensive, or you have to be just to survive.
Yeah. And I know that this one, like we were talking earlier about how this one uses like silk is kind of like the thing that Hornet uses. It's the silk system, which replaced, so the original Hollow Knight, I think it was like focus or something.
I remember there being spells and like charms that you're equipping, and which there kind of are in this, not really spells as much, at least not so far, as much as like attacks. And there are things that are similar to charms in this, but they're crest. And I didn't realize there were multiple crests. I thought you just had the one and you were putting like things inside of the one crest you have as you unlock different slots in it. But then I beat this really hard enemy, this like, at least hard to me at the time. Maybe I was just like under prepared for it or under equipped for it or something. But I fought this thing. It was like a savage beast fly or something like that. And it was so hard, but when I beat it, it's like, you got your first crest. Like, I got an achievement for it. I was like, oh, cool. What is that? And then it lets you, so you know that thing where you're equipping all your little charms to at the rest sites, like that at the benches, like you can change that out, and it's a different shape, and it accepts different charms in it, or different colored charms in it. Initially, what I unlocked is like, it's called like the beast charm or something probably. And it just has 2 red slots. So there were a lot of things that I'm using the other colored slots for, like one of them being the compass, which shows me where I am on the map, which I would say is a necessity for me at least early on, just because I do not know where I am half the time trying to figure these maps out.
Well, especially Metroidvania, like, you know, I mean, almost any Metroidvania, that's almost like, you know, a must is to have something that to help you kind of find your way.
At least in your initial adventure through a map. And like, so definitely not even a hot tip, but definitely go after you have to buy maps from this other character chakra. And you have to do that. Like, do not like shortchange yourself and not buy maps, because you will need them to understand where you are and to help you like keep progressing, unless you are just like amazing with like directional remembrance, which I am not. So I need that map there. Just be like, okay, where am I again? Okay, cool. And like sometimes I've gotten so used to like parts of, or like sections, that I don't necessarily need the compass equipped. But you can only unequip or re-equip your charms into your crest at
the bench.
Rest sites, at the benches.
Yeah.
So you have to really decide like what I want to take with me. Like when I fought that beast fly, I had this one equipped that gave me defense while I was healing, because this thing was so like it would attack so rapidly that it wouldn't really give me a chance to heal. So I needed this little shield around me while I was healing. But even then, if it attacks me while I have the shield on, it will break the shield and interrupt my heal. And I still uses all my silk. So it was really just to protect me from death, even though it didn't let me heal while being hit. But that's a whole nother thing.
Jeez.
And I equipped this one that was like a green berry charm thing that when you get hit, it like gives you a little bit of like temporary like green silk. So it tries to like fill it up a little bit faster for you, so that you can potentially get enough to heal or use an ability or whatever you need to do. So I had to equip those while I was fighting this boss, because he was just like whooping my ass for the first few tries. And I was like, okay, I need to just like lock in on this. This is a lot harder than I was expecting it to be. And even one of the like starting bosses, like you get skill checked a lot in this game. And I appreciate that, because it's like, okay, cool. I can't just like breeze through it. Right. But you might feel like that at first until you face one of the first like little mini bosses. Then you're like, oh man, okay, you're going to first think you're in the wrong place, because it feels like such a difficulty jump. But then you're like, nope, I just need to understand the mechanics and what I'm doing. And at that point, you won't even have a dodge yet. So you have to just like get used to jumping and like moving as fast as you can without a dodge or without a dash or anything.
Yeah. So, I ran into that with the boss that I went up against. Like, I was just kind of surprised that I didn't have a dash or anything yet. But I made it work. I haven't died yet. So for one, that's a huge surprise. So like I'm just going to pat myself on the back a little bit for that one, because I figured I'd be dead right away. But yeah, I got through the first boss without a death. So I was very happy about that. But I did get a little scared a few times.
Yeah, once you like get to some of this, and I don't know like if this boss I needed to fight yet or I could have waited. But once I got to him, I was like, you know what? I just got to keep going. I got to make this happen. So once you face him, you'll know. And then you'll be like, okay, now I see what you're talking about. I fought him, and then I just finished fighting something called like Morrowing or something like that. Ooh. Which is like this scary like mite or moth or something. I don't know what it was, but like it was pretty tough, but it also is what queued up a cutscene right after it. And that's why I was like, hold on, I'm in a cutscene. I can't record yet.
Yeah.
But I won't spoil anything about what it was or whatever, but he was kind of tough, but the boss before him, that Savage Beastfly, was a whole nother level of challenge, which I love.
Yeah, I would love to see that. Maybe I'll get there. We'll see. I almost feel like I need to go back and just like part of me wants to go and play the original Hollow Knight before I go any farther in this. But
I mean, it's still a great game. Yeah. I recommend it, but I'm just saying like it's going to be harder. If you're going to play it, I would say play it first, because it's going to be harder to go back. Maybe it'll just feel really easy because it's a lot slower paced.
But maybe it'll make me better and when I jump back into Silksong, you know?
Could be.
Maybe. So there's also like the rosaries, and is that supposed to be similar to like the idea of souls?
Yeah, the beads are the souls of the game. Yeah. Basically, that's what you are purchasing just about everything with. There are some alternative things that are some kind of shell parts or something. I don't remember what they're called, but those are to recharge your like your equipment. Like you get a like throwing knife pretty early on, and it has a limited number of uses per rest. And then once you go back to the bench, then it will recharge your throwing knife or whatever you're using with those shard pieces, not your beads, but the shard pieces. So those things you're collecting that you're going to get like 400 of, be like, what are these even for? That's when those will start being used, is when you go, if you're using your throwing items at all, you'll go back and rest. And the beast charm I was talking about has 2 red slots starting out. So those are the red equipment, at least as far as I understand, is the equipment that makes you kind of use those shards to recharge them. So that's where I could see that really starting to come in handy, depending on like how you're playing the game. But to your original question, the beads are souls, and you do get like these bundles of beads or like these necklaces or whatever. And those work in the same way that like basically like your little soul bundles or whatever do, where you can save them until you need them, so you don't risk potentially losing them to death. Yeah. So it's like, if you come up to a rest site that it's like, do you want to pay 80 beads to unlock this travel like thing? And you're like, oh crap, I don't have them. But you're like, oh, but I do have this one thing that gives me 60 beads in my pack. So let me just use that so I can use it to get access to this thing. So that's where I would use something like that. In like Elden Ring, you use those kind of things if you're like just short of leveling up. So you use those things, you get more souls, you level up, et cetera, et cetera. So it's mechanically similar in that way. If you've played any Souls-like game, you'll understand that mechanic like right away, and you'll start to really get the feel for it. I mean, the benches obviously are bonfires, and you've got your dodge rolls. Well, not rolls so much. You've got your dash, not super early, but relatively early on, within the first couple hours.
How do you see this game as far as like its appeal to the folks that like platformers and like Metroidvanias, but aren't necessarily fans of Souls-like games? Do you think there's still enough appeal there, or do you think that would turn, like the gameplay itself, would that turn them away from it? Like, would it be too difficult?
It's really hard to gauge that, because I like both. So I'm on both sides of this. I would say if I'm looking at it from just purely a Metroidvania aspect, then it would be like one of the harder ones I've ever played. But I'm looking at it from a Souls-like perspective. It's like, okay, this is a pretty tough one, but I've played harder. So
okay.
I don't know for sure like what the general consensus on is going to be difficulty wise. Is it a fun game? Yes. Does it get hard? Yes. But are those optional bosses? I don't know for sure. So you may get like skill locked at some point, and some people may give up right there. But like, I think it's worth persevering, even if it's just to appreciate the art of this thing and the sounds, everything about it.
The art of this game is absolutely gorgeous. And I do want to circle back on that real quick, but just to hammer onto your point that you were bringing up, I just playing this, for the short amount of time I do think, and I've played a little bit of Souls-like, so I'm not like completely away from it. It's not the kind of game I usually get into, but I would say that like so far, it does feel like less difficult than some of them I've played and that I've played together with you. I feel like if you aren't like a huge Souls sort of fan, but you do like Metroidvanias and platformers and stuff, then like I do think that this is still worth like checking out, because it's not going to be as difficult from the Souls-like perspective, I think. But that does not mean it's not going to be a hard game, because it is going to be a hard game.
You have to look at it through the lens of it being a 2D Souls-like also, which there aren't like...
There's not very many.
A ton of like well-known ones. I mean...
the only one I can think of is Salt and Sanctuary off the top of my head.
Salt and Sanctuary, what is that one roguelike that we played? Dead Cells.
Oh, Dead
like
Cells,
basically
that's right.
That, but that's like roguelike, Metroidvania, Souls-like game. That's a ton of different things. Tales of Iron, that one where you are
the
mouse.
Yeah.
Blasphemous, of course.
Oh, true.
And I guess like Ender Lilies, if you play like that one I played last year that I was like a little lukewarm on.
Yeah.
At least the sequel to it.
Yes.
But yeah, so there's a lot of like examples of that, but don't compare it to something like Elden Ring, only in the sense that it's a different experience to play a 2D Souls-like versus a 3D.
Let's go back and talk about that artwork though. One of the biggest appeals to me about this and about the original Hollow Knight is the artwork itself, and especially the character design and like how simple the character designs are, but how memorable they are. And like, I wouldn't be able to tell you the names of like almost any character except for Hornet, but like I can recall the looks of so many of them just because of the way that they're drawn and created. I absolutely love the art style of this. It's all hand-drawn kind of stuff. Looks gorgeous. And in this game in particular, the environments are a lot more lush and a lot more vibrant so far than what I remember seeing from the original Hollow Knight, which I think is a lot more earth tone than anything.
And you've got quests in this one also. I don't remember if that were the case, at least to this degree, in Hollow Knight, the original one. But this one, you have your quests that are optional to some degree. Some are necessary because they unlock movement, skills. But there are others that are optional. Will just get you, bonus things or more beads or something to that effect. But yeah, so there are quests, and you have a quest tracker to tell you kind of like what you're supposed to do and how close you are to achieving that quest. Like one that I have right now is like I need to discover 100 different bugs, like different species of bugs in the game. And I think I've only gotten like 35 so far. So it's like, There's a ton more I haven't even seen yet.
Yeah.
And that's just for the 100 for this quest. I'm sure there's even more than that.
Well, yeah, I think from what I understand, there's like somewhere between 150 to 200 enemies. So
dang.
Yeah, there's a lot. There's like over 40 bosses. So like, it's a huge game.
I've probably fought like 5, I would say 5, 10 if I'm being like really like stretching it, like bosses. So if there's like 50 plus, that is nuts.
And I don't know how big Hollow Knight was, the original, but I assume this one's probably quite a bit bigger. So real quick before like we wrap up on Hollow Knight, or Silksong specifically, we'll say Silksong to differentiate the two. I want you to tell me so far, because I know you're probably going to be playing this for a while, so I'm sure we'll end up getting some Silksong updates like we get our peak updates from you.
Of course.
What are your favorite things about the game so far?
So far, I think now that I've gotten used to the movement, I'll tell you what I didn't like at first, or at least didn't understand at first, was the down attack, your little dive attack. Because in the original Hollow Knight, if I remember correctly, when you attacked down, it would go straight down. And that's what I'm expecting when I hold down and push an attack button. This goes diagonally. Like you push down and it goes diagonally, whichever direction you're kind of favoring or facing.
Sure.
And that was really hard for me to get used to at first, especially because there's a part pretty early on once you reach like the ants area where you have to use these little red mushrooms to get around. And it was really challenging for me. And by like hitting them with your down attack, it was challenging for me to get to the point of comfortability to where I could like confidently say, okay, I know I'm going to jump these 3 mushrooms that are kind of zigzagging around and not fall into the spike pit because I know now how to do my down attack. So they really do skill check you often and make you understand these mechanics. Like you cannot get around understanding these mechanics. So I say that to say like it took me a while to get around that, but now I really like it and I've started using it a ton more. So it's like, if you think of a game like the DuckTales game, for anybody who ever played that, where like Scrooge McDuck on a pogo stick,
bounces,
it's like, this is your pogo stick kind of thing where you can bounce around, not infinitely because enemies will like slap you out of the sky depending on what enemy you're fighting, but you can generally like bounce around if you're good enough with that pogo attack and aiming the angle correctly. And that's a pretty significant way of like staying, one, off the ground, and two, just like out of danger if you can confidently pull it off. So far, loving the game. Favorite part about it, I don't know yet. I'm just really enjoying all of it as a whole. I love Metroidvanias. I love Souls-like games, and this is kind of the best of both worlds.
How about favorite boss so far?
I mean, just purely from the overcoming it thing, that Savage Beastfly has been my favorite so far, just because it was such like a big challenge that I wasn't expecting, that it made me like seriously like sit up in my seat and start sweating a little bit because I was so nervous.
Oh,
like,
you had
as
to
I was going through it.
You had to get serious. You had to play seriously.
To, like, turn my hat backwards, whatever the case. And, like,
yeah, you had to plant both feet.
It was hard, but it was like so satisfying when I beat it. Because you don't really get a sense of how far you are along. There's no health bars on these enemies, so you just kind of have to know. It's like, okay, I know these enemies die in 3 hits. I know these are whatever. But then the bosses, you have no clue until they go into their like second or third mode or form or whatever you want to call it, and then they start like throwing more at you. It's like, okay, I gotta be close. But then sometimes it'll push past a point of you even thinking you're close, and then it'll like, okay, he's dropping things. That means I've got to be close. I was like, oh no, now he's dropping 2 things. Okay, now I've got to be real close. And then it's like, just not being able to see it, and so not knowing how close you really are makes it all the more nerve-wracking. Like if I knew that I was like, a sliver away, it would feel a lot different than me being like, I could have been like halfway through his bar. I have no idea. And that's what makes it like exhilarating and also nerve-wracking.
Man, yeah, that sounds nuts. Thanks for making me afraid to play the game. So
you're going to feel so good. Just like you did when you didn't die on the first boss at all. Like you felt good probably. So
I did feel good
keep
about
that going.
that. Yeah, I did feel good about that. So I don't want to ruin the good feeling I don't want to ruin the high that I'm on right now by going and losing to the Savage Beastfly or whatever his name is.
Yeah, I mean, you're still early on, so
yeah,
I don't know. Just enjoy the ride. Are you playing it on Game Pass, by the way?
No, I was doing it on Steam.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Did you? Yeah, because I had to pick it up because even though I saw it was on Game Pass, I was like, I got to buy this. Like, I'm not going to, like, it's $20. I'm not going to say no. I want to support these devs.
Power up!
Hey, if you're enjoying this episode so far, do us a favor and throw us a like, a follow, share the episode or the podcast with folks who love indie games so we can get more of these game recommendations out there and support indie game devs. We also have our YouTube channel at youtube.com/nerdsloth where you can catch us playing more indie games or check out our top 5 and top 10 series for even more indie game recommendations because we believe there's an indie game out there for everyone.
Combo!
Let's talk about some other indie games we've been playing this week. Here is a game that feels like part action RPG, part side-scrolling beat-em-up. That's Starfire Eternal Cycle. You brought this up a couple episodes ago, I believe. So
yes.
Yeah,
I do remember.
Yeah, so you're progressing through these procedurally generated levels in different biomes, fighting bugs. That's a common theme today, I think. Aliens, robots. Collecting cores, which are things that you equip to enhance your elemental-based attacks. You can also mix and match multiple types of elemental cores for some like really cool customizable attacks and effects, like in a similar way to what was the game from not that long ago? Was it Ovis Loop? Reminds me of that a little bit. Yeah, like similar concept in a way, but it's still quite a bit different. The combat was super fast, really responsive. It felt like it was a lot like Hades and other great action RPGs. It's like possible for you to just kind of load in, dodge, commit multiple strikes, dodge to the next group of enemies, finish a level without taking a hit if like you really know what you're doing, at least at first, and then it definitely ramps up in the difficulty, and like the amount of enemies that will end up on the screen can get pretty hectic as you get farther along. There is like a lot more to it that I won't get into in this episode for sure, but there's like different weapons that you can unlock. You start with like one specific one. There's a lot of meta progression stuff, but like I do want to say like I enjoyed this game for the most part, but there's 2 things that did bug me a little bit that I think if they did any updates to the gameplay at all, I think this is where I would love to see like a tweak or so, which is that I would love to see more map variety, because even though like they are like randomly generated and stuff, like they all look really, really similar. So like, if you didn't tell me it was randomly generated, I would think I was in the same map every time, like unless I got into like the next biome or something, I would just think I'm going through like the same levels over and over again. And then the other thing is that the bosses are just gigantic damage sponges. Like the health that they have is so huge compared to anything else that you go up against, and like by an extraordinary amount. Like it takes forever to take one down no matter how powerful you are. So like it felt a little shocking going through like a few levels and powering myself up and stuff to a point where like I felt like I was wiping enemies pretty good. Then I get up against a boss and I'm like, I am in this fight for like ever. Why is this boss not dying? So then I felt super underpowered, but then it was like, as soon as I beat that boss and I went into like, the next biome and was fighting regular mobs and stuff again, I felt powerful again. So I was like, man, that just seemed really weird to me. So maybe like some balance needs to be done.
I played the same. I beat the demo of this, which is just getting through your first run, essentially.
Yes.
Because you get through the first two biomes. I think that's just how the game is and how it starts, because after I beat that, it was like, cool, now you've unlocked the next whatever, and you can play on difficulty 2 now. And there's like, you start with these fist weapons. It looks like there were, at least from the demo, there were like...
there's 8 total.
There were like 8 weapons, but there were like 6 biomes, I think. You get to play through the first 2. After you do each level, there are like 2 choices, 2 to 3 choices from what I saw at least, of what you want to do next. And those are like, do you want to go for treasure? Do you want to go for like more enemies, so you're getting more of the resources, I guess? Or do you want to go to a healing thing? So you still have your like pathing in a similar way, but as far as like the visual of it goes, you're just like going from dot to dot at the top of your screen from start to boss. And that's how the biomes are. I found it a little challenging at first, but I didn't die at all. It just took me a little bit to get used to like what it was expecting of me, because like the enemies do telegraph, but you don't know what enemies are going to be like resistant to you hitting them and which ones aren't. So you just have to like keep an eye on them, because once they start like flashing, you need to get out of the way, obviously, but it doesn't have the same kind of like reaction timing that you might be used to, where it's like, okay, I know obviously these enemies are getting affected by my hits and getting stun locked, but like these other ones are not. There's like these beetles that I would have thought would have just like been a little mob that reacts like everything else, but those just absorbed all of the damage I was doing to them and just like hit me right through it. I'm like, oh, okay, so these beetles suck.
Yeah. I was so mad when I went up against those, because I was like, what the heck do I have to do?
Yeah, so that's where you have to like figure out which ones you need to dodge around and which ones you don't. The bosses are easier to telegraph because they usually have those like large red areas that they cover. So yeah, I mean, I liked it. I might end up like purchasing this sometime down the line. Definitely if it's like on sale, I would. I don't know if I'm eager to like jump in and buy it like right now though.
I think it was very enjoyable. It didn't stand out enough to me to like say that I liked this like over something like Oversloop or some of the other ones that we've played recently. But like, I just felt like I didn't connect with this one as much as I have some of the other ones that we've played. That's not to say this isn't a, bad game by any means, especially like, I think it looks freaking amazing.
Yeah, this game has an amazing look to it. The movement will feel a little weird because you kind of like, you're slower than you would think you are, at least starting out. I'm sure there's things that like help you speed up, but
your dashes are pretty good though.
Yeah, you have 2 dashes to start with, and like you're getting new unlocks and stuff every single like level you go through. So it does not slow down the pacing of like making you feel like, okay, I'm going towards a build. Let me see how this works out. So I'm going to give it a soft recommendation only because like I don't know what it's like past the demo, but I will say I did enjoy the demo, and the art style, at least of the cover art of the character, reminded me a lot of Red Monica from Joe Madureira art.
Nice. Yeah. That's a good call.
So I don't think that's his art, but it just like resembled
it's definitely not,
in my mind.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I think it's a really cool game. I like I said, like my only thing is I feel like there could be a little bit more balancing and a little bit more variability. Other than that, I think it's pretty good. I would definitely say that it's worth at least checking the demo out if the demo's still live. I don't know if it is or not, but
it is. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I would definitely say check the demo out then for anybody listening.
And it's on sale right now. It's $15.29.
Hey, there you go.
So I would say definitely worth the price. Actually, I'm going back on my soft recommend to a medium recommend.
You're gonna go back on your. I need to stop buying so many games. And then, buying one every single episode that we do.
I literally added it to my cart.
Oh my God, Joseph.
We were talking about it. I don't know if I'm going to buy it. That's just in my maybe cart.
Your maybe cart. Okay.
Only because if it's on my wish list, I'll forget it. So it needs to be in my cart for a little bit.
It's like going through a Walmart, putting stuff in your cart. I don't think I'm actually going to buy this. I'm just going to push it around the store for a while and see how it feels.
This is my window shopping. Instead of just window shopping, I'm actually putting it in my cart and seeing how it feels in there. Yeah.
That's exactly how window shopping works. Hey, let me talk about one more real quick. And it's another one that you brought up before. We have said before, we usually don't like auto battlers, but for whatever reason, we found some really good ones this year, like Nine Kings, Forest Heroes. So let's talk about Mage and Monsters II, which was developed by a solo dev, released on September 8th. It's an active auto battler roguelike where you can recruit heroes, enhance armies, cast spells, all while managing strategy, permadeath, and pixel-style fantasy combat. You didn't play this one, did you? Because you snuck on me with the other one. You did not?
No, okay. I did not play this one.
All right. Well, let me tell you, each run you select a hero and then a small unit, like let's say 5 soldiers of some kind, and then you go into a battle. Then for each battle that you win, you earn gold, which is then used to purchase other things like add more to your army or upgrade that army, unlock higher quality tiers of fighters, upgrade your hero, or purchase or upgrade spells that can give you an active role during the battle so that you're not just doing like the auto stuff, but then you can actually like unleash a spell at like the perfect moment, on the enemy team and stuff. And those do have cooldowns and everything too. You also get to decide the order in which your units deploy. So you want to pay attention to like their speed, their range, their defense, etc., which will all play like a key role in winning the battle. So for an idle leaning game, I had a lot more fun and felt a lot more invested than I thought I would. I already said, like, I just am not a big auto battler person, but for whatever reason, like people are getting more creative with them. I feel like this year.
I just think that we need to differentiate. We need to be better differentiating idle games from auto battlers, because I was conflating the two originally until I started playing some that were auto battlers. I'm like, oh, there's actually a lot that goes into this. This isn't just me clicking gems and like getting money or whatever, like you would in an idle game or something. No, this is like, so recently, what was the other auto battler game that I played recently? Oh crap!
What was the?
Hold on, I'm looking for it in my list here. Yes, The King is Watching. Yeah. So, that one, and also the Forest Heroes.
Yeah,
like
Forest Heroes.
Auto Battler.
Yep.
But like both of those are so good because there's so much strategy to them. It's not just sitting back and watching what your units do. You have to be actively doing something, which that's what keeps me interested in a game. So I don't care if the enemy or if my units are automatically attacking. It's because of the way that I've set them up and the way that I am reacting to enemy actions. So that's where it's like a huge difference between auto battlers and idle games that I now have to like separate in my mind.
Yeah, that's a really, really good point too. Because I think in my head, I've always sort of combined the two as well. And yeah, this is definitely not like an idle thing. You do have to take an active role to a degree. And one thing that I do like about it, though, is like there really is strategy to this. And like a lot of the strategy, though, does come down to like outside of the battles and like how you want to spend that gold to upgrade your units or buy units and things like that. But like also just kind of keeping an eye on the battle and seeing like how it starts turning, because there's definitely been like parts during battles and stuff where I'm like, expecting it to go one way, and then for whatever reason it doesn't, and like let's say they break through my formation or something on one side, and then I know, oh god, they're gonna funnel up, flank me, and then I would be ruined. But that's when I'm like, okay, I gotta make sure that my spells aren't on cooldown in case that happens. Like if I see like my guys thinning out, so then I can use one of my spells on like right here to support them, or in case something like, flanks me from the other side. So like doing that kind of stuff, like that made me feel like really good. And like, it makes you feel smart when you can like outsmart the AI when it's like trying to do that stuff. What is fun too is once you beat a run, then you kind of like you unlock these like challenge modes and stuff, but then you can also unlock an endless mode, which goes absolutely insane. And I would say too that like there's already like different difficulty levels that you can pick. I think the easy is way too easy. Definitely go harder. I did 3 of the difficulties. So like easy, normal. I did not die on either of those. So I think like maybe the next highest difficulty is probably the sweet spot. But yeah, it was really cool. Especially like I really love the simple pixel art of everything too. So it was a really cool game.
Yeah, it reminds me visually of Heroes of Might and Magic, but like the original ones. Heroes of Might and Magic 3, I spent so much time on as a kid. So even though that is turn-based and this is not, at least the way that the units are standing is what reminded me of that.
I can see influence big time in this game from that. Like I said before, a solo dev, but he's made quite a few games, like at least 6 or so from I think what I've seen. And like you can see the influence from games like Heroes of Might and Magic in a lot of his work. So go check his stuff out. You can check out the first game because this is a sequel. So, good price point for everything. Definitely worth checking out.
Adding it to my cart. I want to support this dev. He's obviously of the same mindset. So I'm with it.
You're going to send me a message tomorrow about like you're going to get mad. You're going to scold me for bringing these games up. And I'm going to be like, dude, I told you.
Here's why I'm not bringing like 5 games I've also played, because I am spending quality time with the games that I am purchasing. I did play a pretty substantial amount of Rogue Labyrinth, that game you were talking about last week.
Oh, yeah.
And I really enjoyed it. I've gotten up to rank B now, which means I've beaten it.
Oh, wow.
I think twice.
Yeah.
It gets progressively like longer and more challenging the further you go into it. I haven't played the B rank yet, so I don't know like how hard that's going to be, but I do really enjoy the random aspect of it. Getting to choose your path, but not knowing what kind of mini game you're going to get and things like that. And the last time I played through on the C rank to get to B, I was like, all right, I'm just going to go all strength build. I'm just going to power up my weapon attacks, period. And I was able to do that in such a way where it didn't ever become like, oh, I was one hit killing everything, but I felt really powerful by the end.
Yeah.
But you can also build into your spells, whatever that kind of stuff was called. I don't remember the name of it, and or your bounce power, where it's like you were saying, everything bounces. So you're just like hitting everything, enemies included, like their bodies will bounce around and collide with the other enemies. The way that you can separate that is like the things that are bouncing for you are blue, the things that are bouncing against you are red. And so visually, it's really easy to kind of catch that. So it doesn't ever feel too overwhelming.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's really satisfying, like fun little game. I'm not sure like how much lasting power it'll have like after I've gotten through all the ranks. But at least for the price of, $12 on sale right now, like it is absolutely worth the time. And I can see the passion that the dev put into this. So that's really exciting to me.
I don't want games with lasting power anymore. Like don't make stop making games that I need to play, that are geared for me to play like for years. I don't want that anymore. There's too many.
I'm with you there, because I kind of like an experience that I can see the end, I can see the finish line, and I can reach that within a reasonable amount of time.
I love a one and done. That's where I'm at right now. I want a one and done. DLC is a different story. Like, that's fine. But
or if it's a game like,
I want an endpoint,
like Slay the Spire or something that is like you can just go with a ton of different builds or whatever, then it's like, okay, cool, I can be done with it for now and then come back to it later.
Yeah.
And still enjoy myself. Because I'm trying something new still. So that's why I love roguelikes generally, because you can always try like new builds usually.
Yeah, I hopped back into Wild Frost for a little bit of time, like a week or so ago.
I miss Wild Frost.
Oh, yeah, it's fun. It was very fun.
Final round.
Let's talk about some upcoming indie games we're excited about. I really, really want to talk about this one that I have been waiting for forever. Do you remember from UFO 50, there was a specific game in there called Lords of Disconia, the one where you are like shooting the discs across the map to do damage? Do you remember that one?
Oh, wait, yes. The one that felt kind of like, what is like Crossfire a little bit.
Yes. Yeah. So this game, Flickshot Rogues, has a similar premise to that, but it's turned into a pirate-themed roguelike with lots of items, combos, and characters that you can choose from. Like I said, I've been waiting on this one since January, so I'm very excited that it is releasing next week on the 17th, which means by the time everyone's listening to this episode, it's probably out. So I'm so excited. This very well could be a next week topic for me, depending on how it goes. But then again, the next one I want to talk about, which is also coming out next week, has also been one I've been waiting for forever, which is called Wander Stars. This is a turn-based RPG that's heavily inspired by early shonen anime, like specifically Dragon Ball and Yu Yu Hakusho. I love the art style of this thing. That's what initially drew me in. I learned about this about the exact same time I learned about Flickshot Rogues. I got to try to play both, so I don't know which one I'm going to end up bringing to the table next week, but I am very excited. It's going to be a really good week for me.
I love the way that this one looks visually, Wonder Stars. I had never heard of this one, but I need to keep an eye on it now.
Yeah, I honestly think that this will be one that you would probably enjoy as well.
Because it 100% has that feeling of like the animes we watched growing up.
Absolutely.
Sure. Like Inuyasha, Yu Yu Hakusho, everything like that.
Yep.
Dragon Ball to some degree, but really those other two, like that's what I'm immediately getting.
I love like it's like almost all like you got mostly like human characters, and then you'll have like the one random anthropomorphic like tiger or something.
Yeah, like a dog person, and it's just like completely normal. Yeah.
That's the part that kind of reminds me of like Dragon Ball, where like it's a world of mostly humans, but there'll just be random like animal people and like no explanation for it. You know, they're just
no
there.
one's bothered by it. It's just
I love
how dogs are. But then there are real dogs too, and it's like what is this whole thing that's like
we don't
a
want to go down that
Pluto moment?
Yeah, we can't go down. That's going to open up a whole can of questions, man, that I'm not drunk or high enough to get into that. So
fair.
Game over.
Hey, if you had a good time listening to this episode, stick around for the bumper to learn how you can help support the show and all the things we do here at Nerd Sloth Creative. You can also check the show notes for our link tree, which will take you to our social media, Discord, subreddit, merch store, and tons of other cool stuff. But get in touch with us and let us know what indie games you are playing and help us elevate these games so we can help support indie game devs. But that is game over for us. My name's Chris.
And I'm Joseph.
And we'll continue on the next episode.
Continue.
Indie Game Arcade is recorded and produced by Nerd Sloth Creative. If you're looking for more gaming content, head over to youtube.com/nerdsloth for indie game let's plays and recommendations. If you'd like to support the show, head over to patreon.com/nerdsloth, where you can select a pledge and receive access to hundreds of hours of bonus content from everything at Nerd Sloth Creative. If you're an indie game developer and would like us to review your game or explore other opportunities, send an email to nerdslothcreative@gmail.com with the subject line Indie Game Arcade. Thanks for listening, and keep supporting indie game devs.